Damn, let's do it.
That's the Asian chick. The Asian chick right there telling me when it's gonna be recording and shit.
Is it a TCP
Oh
app or
man.
what? I'm just
Yeah,
kidding.
man. She has horizontal pussies. Anyway, testicles, one, two, testicles. Welcome back to Paranoi Radio podcast, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank the Lord for allowing me to be here today, and I want to thank every single one of you for allowing me to enter your space. I want to thank the Lord again. I want you guys to make sure you check us out at paranoidradio.com. I feel like a mellow vibe kicking in right now. I think it's because I'm kicking it with the mellow vibe king.
Enjoy the calm
Yo,
before the storm.
that's the stuff. That's the stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure you check us out at paranoidradio.com. Drop a 5-star review on Apple Podcast. It allows other people to enjoy the show as much as I enjoy making it. And I wasn't prepared to record on this beautiful Friday afternoon. I had to shave my head, then freaking do some crazy shit, shower, feed the baby, drop her off in the other one, turn on the ACs, and I was cooking. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you guys to give a round of applause to the legendary Joreeezy, the host of K4V3 podcast. What's up, big dog?
What's going on, Troubles? What's going
What's
on,
up, man?
Paranoia Radio?
Yeah, yo, we're cooking over here, bro. We're fucking working every week. I get stuck for a little bit, but we have content coming out 2 to 3 times a week, every single week. Thank the Lord. But you guys have inspired something. So I haven't told you this. K4V3, ladies and gentlemen, can be found on all podcast platforms. You can also check them out at paranoia.com, and they have K4V3.com. Make sure you check them out. They're also on Instagram. They have like 4 different Instagram accounts. So I'm sure that you put K, the number 4, V, and the number 3, you'll be able to find them immediately. They're also on YouTube. These mother suckers are very young, very talented, extremely knowledgeable, and educated. A lot more than I can ever imagine. And they have inspired me to keep up with these people. These son of a guns, he didn't only take one of my best friends in the freaking game, which is Chef. Shout out to Chef from Sunday Night Secret Societies. But this guy has also inspired me to keep it upbeat. Keep it upbeat, because even though my audience is mostly audio, I also have to put in some effort in doing video and lives. So what you guys do is go live every so often throughout the week, and then those are your episodes, and you come and drop it on Spotify, etc, which is huge, because that's the way to attack and engage with the public. What we try to do here is try to go live on Fridays with the subscribers, with the listeners, with the followers, which then they get engages the conversation too. So I mended it into my way, but you inspired that fucking thing. And now they're called No Filter Mondays. I have lives on Fridays, drop them on Mondays. That's our own little segment where I could speak with the listener. So I want to thank you again for keeping me upbeat, for inspiring season 5, the ending of season 4, episode 200 with me and the boys. Thank you again, bro.
Hell yeah. Hey, man, it goes both ways because you actually inspired us to do shorter content because, bro, all our shit be fucking ranging from 2 hours to 3 hours. And in this new generation that we're living in and this new times that we're living in, the attention span be getting shorter. You know what I mean? And that's no knock at like shorter segments. It's just I think shorter segments is easier to digest. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Opposed to, hey, listen to your episode, but just like the first 10 minutes because that shit was like 2 hours. You know what I mean? First of
Yeah.
all, when you look
Yeah.
at the whole episode and you see that it's 3 hours and shit, it kind of gets intimidating. But yeah,
Mhm.
man, more short segments inspired by Paranoia Radio. So it goes both
Would you
ways,
look at
brother.
that? Yeah,
Love,
that shit's awesome, bro.
love.
Yo, and we forgot to fucking mention this is gonna be an official beef here. Yo, Tank was a piece at this conversation with you where you guys come in with Kendrick and Drake. I know it's fucking old, but I think we think Drake won over here or whatever, bro.
Oh, yeah.
Yo, that's not what we're doing here today, bro.
Hmm.
Again, ladies and gentlemen, this is Joreeezy from K4V3 podcast. Shout outs to Abra Sumente, shout outs to Proper, shout outs to Chef, everybody that's part of the cave, and the people that I have not been able to conversate and exchange energies with. Mad love to every single person in the cave. Thank you again for allowing me into the cave and giving me the keys to the cave. I think it's probably a big old stone, but
Oh,
you
yeah.
don't need keys, right?
You know, you remember.
Yeah,
Don't lose
I
them.
remember. So, all right, guy, bro, you have some information for me. I'm gonna pull out my fucking notes because you had me lost when I was driving. I was speeding in the fucking carpool lane just by myself. You said you want to talk about some elite aliens and so
So
forth
Elite
and so
Aliens, right?
forth. Yeah.
The second 100 episode we did about crop circles, I kind of went off and said that the elites were aliens, and I think I ended up saying that Epstein was an alien, right?
It was off air, and I recorded the part
Oh,
where you were
okay.
sharing the art, but it wasn't part of the main episode. Yeah, yeah.
Cool, cool, cool. So Well, just to give context, I mentioned that Epstein could possibly be an alien just because I was watching this documentary on Netflix about Epstein, and it was a lot of the victims kind of giving their testimony about him. And there was one testimony, actually, not one testimony, a constant theme throughout the testimony was that he had a weird shaped dick, right? He had an egg shaped penis, which was
Word.
funny. But there was an
Uh,
interview where it was not even an interview. There's a video of a disposition where the guy asks Epstein if his penis was egg shaped. You know what I
uh-huh.
mean? But, anyways, I have been doing this occult anime deep dive, and I'm going through Dragon Ball Z right now. And Dragon Ball Z, are you familiar with Dragon Ball Z?
Food. I don't ruin Dragon Ball Z for me, bro. Hey, quick
Bro.
story. When I started watching Dragon Ball Z, I started the only reason I found out of Dragon Ball Z was because Telemundo had it in Spanish. And
Oh,
when I was coming
bro.
up, we only had KCET, like channel 28, and then channel 52 in the mornings. So we would watch Dragon Ball Z, and it started with Dragon Ball. I started with Vegeta, started with the Frieza, which one of probably the best series, and then the Cell series. And I'm a Team Gohan guy. So yeah, bro,
Mm.
absolutely.
Yeah,
I'm very
man.
familiar with
I
Dragon
see
Ball
on
Z.
social media all the time that in Mexico, like they have viewing parties for the episodes and shit. And I think like they had a gathering for Toriyama's funeral or
Death.
something, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's bigger there than it is in Asia, bro. That's the crazy thing about Dragon Ball
Yeah.
Z. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
man. It has its own ecosystem, bro. To be honest with you, it's probably one of the most legendary series out there for cartoons and stuff.
So
Yeah.
I'm doing this occult anime deep dive, and there's a lot of occult symbolism in Dragon Ball Z, but I made this connection about Epstein and Dr. Giro, right? And Dr. Giro created the androids, right? And that kind of inspired the research that I'm going to present today. But the interesting thing, since I brought up the egg-shaped penis and shit, was I don't think it's Dr. Giro anymore. I think it's Cell because Cell, how he'd absorb different people, it looked like an egg-shaped kind of tentacle thing that he sucks people up in and becomes perfect Cell, right?
Mhm.
Being a shape-shifting, leveling up kind of humanoid type of thing, right? Which is what I said the elites were they're kind of humanoid, and the anatomical difference is the his penis, which sometimes if it's a sexual topic, it gets laughed at, but only the real researchers kind of see past the humor and be like, that's kind of weird. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
So, anyways, we have to look at the stuff that the victims are saying because no one else is talking anything about the Epstein case. And if someone is, they're getting off, right?
Yeah.
So, another evidence of Epstein, quote unquote, being an alien is one of the victims had a painting depicting, first of all, Ghislaine Maxwell's head on a dragon's body. Now you can talk about dragons and all that symbolism.
Mm-hmm.
Then
Uh-huh.
she also depicted Hillary Clinton's head on a goat body, which will be
Okay.
relevant when I bring up other shit later on in this presentation. But she
Uh,
also drew a UFO speeding away, like almost towards to the side, so it wasn't even in the center of the frame,
mhm,
speeding away, and it had Epstein's head on the UFO, right?
mhm.
And Ryan Shaw or Shaw Ryan, he's a new podcaster coming up. He had a
Yeah.
show about this guy coming out and saying that UFOs are being used in black ops projects for human trafficking. Now he doesn't know if it's some kind of deal that they have with the aliens where it's like, hey, give us some tech and you can take like this population of people, or that we already know how to use them. And how the fuck can you catch a UFO? If you see a UFO, you're taking a video and you're thinking aliens, you're not thinking kidnapping or human trafficking, right?
Word. Absolutely.
So
And that's the psyop. Is that what you're saying?
that's another conversation, but that's more Project Bluebeam making the
Okay.
side more about
Okay.
Star Wars and aliens, other than like these beings that are living amongst us that are kind of making deals with us type shit that we don't know, right?
There's what president was it? Correct? It
Truman?
was it Truman? The dude that he went to the dentist allegedly, but he didn't. He actually made a deal with the aliens. Um, he did it. Correct me if I'm wrong, ladies and gentlemen. He allegedly told the public that he went to a dentist appointment, but he really went to a meeting, a secret alien meeting, in order to exchange human beings for tech.
Yeah.
Is that this is missing 411? I think I'm not sure if it's
Yes,
connected.
missing 401. So I guess the deal was that the national parks was free game to the aliens to abduct people, and that's why you get a lot of
There
missing
we go.
people in the national parks. In exchange, we get tech from them. Now, whether they just give us the tech or they crash certain vehicles in certain places for us to, recover and then reverse engineer from there.
Mhm.
I don't know exactly what the deal is, but I guess that's the lore around that deal we have with the angel or the aliens, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
That's wild.
So what's interesting is I came across this group called the Raelians, right?
Uh-huh.
And the Raelians believe in this UFO religion. They're a new up and coming religions slash some people would call them a cult, right?
Word.
Okay, so anyways, the
If you need to
Raelians.
share the screen, bro, by all means, go ahead.
Okay, let me do
Hmm.
it right here.
Hmm. It's already on.
Share screen. All right. And then look at their symbol, bro. That's kind of a sneak peek too. So the Raelians believe that an extraterrestrial species known as the Elohim created humanity using their advanced technology an aesthetic religion. It holds that the Elohim have historically been mistaken for gods. It claims that throughout the history, Elohim have created 40 Elohim human hybrids who have served as prophets, preparing humanity for news about their origins. Among them are Buddha, Jesus, and Muhammad, with Rael himself, 40th and the final prophet. Rael is the leader of this cult, and we'll get into him a little later. Raelists believe that since the atomic bomb of Hiroshima in 1945, the humanity has entered the age of apocalypse in which it threatens itself with nuclear annihilation. Raelism holds that humanity must find a way to harness new scientific and technological development for peaceful purposes, and that this has been achieved. When this has been achieved, the Elohim will return to Earth and share their technology with humanity and establish a utopia. So, what they're trying to do is they're trying to build an embassy. So, when it's time for them to come, we can kind of welcome them, right?
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Raelians engage in daily meditation, hope for physical immortality through human cloning, and promote a liberal ethical system with strong emphasis on sexual experimentation. All
It
right. So,
always comes back full around, full circle for the sex, bro. Oh man.
sexual freedom and cloning, because they believe that the Elohim kind of spliced us and made these like hybrid DNAs of them and us, right?
Yeah.
So, again, my lead initially, where this theory came from was the alien or the UFO, right? Depicting Jeffrey Epstein as a UFO in one of the victims' painting. Now, check this out. This is where it gets crazy. There's another victim that came out named Juliet Bryant, and she discussed her experiences in in a ranch in New Mexico, one of Jeffrey
Uh-huh.
Epstein's New Mexico ranch.
Uh-huh.
Interesting that
Uh-huh.
it's New Mexico, and we always talk every time something comes out about Epstein, something about aliens comes out, and not necessarily linking the two, but more to distract you with the alien stuff, so you stop worrying about the Epstein stuff. Again, Project Bluebeam
Mhm.
making that shit about Star Wars.
Yeah.
Brian said she met many scientists, Bill Clinton and director Michael Bay through Epstein. Bay has denied meeting with Epstein. Brian points out how Bill Clinton banned human cloning as president in 1997. Bay came out with a movie on human cloning in 2005, ironically called, you know the movie?
The Island.
The Island,
Damn, that was one of my
bro.
favorite fucking movies, dog.
What a
I
great
swear to.
movie.
Well,
What a
it
great
is
movie.
right, dude. Hey, yo, everybody, if you like, there's a couple movies in the world that are super underrated, and it's not because Obi-Wan Kenobi's in it. I sort of, or
And it's not
Scarlett
because Scarlett
Johansson.
Johansson's in it.
But it is kind of, I mean, god damn. But like, dude, that movie, the Mist and the movie The Island are probably one of the best fucking told movies that are like, what the fuck, dude? They live in the dystopian future. Something happened. It's fucking dope. And I've used, oh man, it's great information. It's great. It's a good movie. It's a good movie.
So
That's
you've
how
seen the
I
movie, right?
expect it to be.
Where do they keep the clones?
They keep the clones underground in New Mexico, in the desert.
Underground tunnels? Yeah, man.
Mm.
So since you've seen it, I mean, you kind of know the whole basis, but it's weird that it's called the island, right?
Yeah.
And that's going to
Well,
come
and
into
it's
play
because
later on.
allegedly, what they do is, the movie plot is the clones live underground and they're the last survivors off of an apocalyptic war, or some shit like that, and then they do a lottery on a daily basis and or monthly basis, and then that lottery number gets pulled. They announce it around the speakers in the movie on the freaking TVs, and they tell him this guy's going to the island. He gets to escape this fucking this little
it's like a loading
jail
zone,
cell,
right?
Yeah. Yeah, and then like you get to be shipped to the island, and in fact, what's really happening is this person gets on the table. They fucking put him to sleep. His organs are harvested for that the real person, the real original, not clone. The how do you say the gene donor?
So the clones that get picked for the island, they're clones of the OGs. Let's call them the OGs. The OGs,
movie stars and shit,
get themselves cloned as an insurance policy. So if they need an organ donor, they pull from their clone because it's an exact match. Or if like a kid dies, they can make another kid with the exact replica and pretty much undo that, right? Immortality.
Snap, dog. Yeah, I hear you.
So anyways, we'll talk about that later. And you said mist. I had this new theory thinking that mists and clouds are almost like the exhaust of a portal. You know what I mean? And that's why you get these UFOs coming from the sky. Maybe they're hiding in clouds type shit. But that's another conversation.
They do hide in clouds too.
Brian claims she met Michael Bay with Epstein in 2004 at his New Mexico ranch, where there were a ton of scientists, and she found herself waking up naked and paralyzed in a laboratory. She also notes how Bay met with the CIA. Look it up. There's a lot of articles about Michael Bay meeting with CIA. I don't know if he got close to the truth.
Michael Bay?
What's up?
Transformers Michael Bay?
Transformers, Soldiers of Benghazi, Michael Bay?
Holy snap, dog.
Yeah, bro. It's a lot of shit. Man. He might be a whistleblower, but he was in the island and he made the island. Anyways, I will point out that Epstein also met with Biden's current CIA chief, William Burns, after his first pedophile crime conviction. But that's also another conversation. But check this out. The tip of the iceberg is human trafficking when it comes to Epstein, but the second layer is the blackmail operation that he ran. But the deeper shit is the torture and the experimenting and eugenics, right?
Eugenics, word.
Nick Bryant, a journalist, spoke about the possibility that Epstein cloned himself, how he was really into transhumanism and how his victims were used as lab rats on the Sean Ryan show. So interestingly enough, you saw the island, bro. Once they get your organ, you think they treat those people as people, or they just treat them as, you're an experiment?
No, absolutely not. They treat you like you're changing a tire on a fucking car. They treat you like just you're a parts harvesting your farm. You're part of the fish. Kind of like how when you go and you catch these salmons, right? And you see how the salmons, you have Alaskan wild caught salmon, and then you have these salmons in the fucking farms. Same thing. The way they bring them into the reel and then they slaughter them and then pull the guts out. The same thing.
So there's this new theory. I'm just going to side tangent and bring up this ethical thought experiment. So what if the clone Scarlett Johansson is done serving her purpose? Can you just fuck the shit out of her whenever you want? I mean, she's hot. You know what I mean? So that's what they're saying these sex parties are, Who knows if
wait, rewind. Wait, whoa.
Who knows if these kids are even real kids? They might just be like clone of people that are serving as insurance policy for these wealthy families.
Dude, after you just fucking plot twisted the shit out of this.
That's a side tangent. That's a side tangent.
Tangent. Okay. Yo, what the fuck, dude? Wait. Yeah, just to be real. It would make them real humans, bro. Yeah, they're still fucking breathing. They're still human beings, bro. Just because the real question would be, do these humans have the same thumbprint as their clone, original, the OG? You see what I'm saying? But yeah, man, they're fucking their consciousness, bro. Of course they're real.
If you talk about time traveling and all that, right? And you talk about like, let's get quantum for a little bit before we get back on track. The butterfly effect. What happens to the butterfly effect if you bring yourself into this timeline? That fucks up your butterfly effect in your timeline and their butterfly effect in their timeline. If we're talking about multiverses, right? And different variants. Now, what's going to happen to your guys' timeline if your timelines are together? That's a third butterfly effect on top of that, I think. And then the fourth butterfly effect is the fact that, like, things aren't happening the way that they should to that person. You know what I mean? So their experience is already different from yours, and your experience got altered because now there's another you here. So not even, let's say you guys don't even like doppelganger, you guys are in different country, like different sides of the world, you can't even meet up with each other, but quantumly and energetically on some quantum entanglement shit, you guys are kind of messing with reality somehow on a certain level, you know what I mean?
Well, do you think this is why they're going off and using CERN a lot more often to
So
try to
there's a
fix and patch up the streams of shit that they're pulling out?
so this is crazy, bro. So there's a theory that there are different like there's another theory. Again, episode 200, I raised the question, what even is aliens? What's the term aliens mean, right? Would
Uh-huh.
a would us from 52,000 years later coming back to this
Hmm.
timeline, are they aliens or are they just us from the future? You know what I mean?
Hmm. Yeah,
So there
yeah.
so there's this theory that there's other timelines of us coming into here to try to fix their timeline because they fucked up already. You know what I mean? Like, let's say something happens in 2045 and we get fucked up, but somehow we have a portal. We're coming back here to 2024 to fix it so that we don't fuck it up for them type shit.
What
That's
about
another conversation too on some
what about
Project Looking Glass shit.
what about jumping even more backwards and lingering around? Like for example, like I'm Angel Trebles, and I am from the year 2056. I
Hmm.
go all the way to the year 1776 into the creation of America to try to change something, so that by the year 2024 comes in, I could come back around and relive, like like keep coming back to refix, to realign my time. You get what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Because sooner or later, because if everybody's fucking around with it, sooner or later, it's gonna branch off again. So I have to keep coming back to try to fix it. How in our timeline, how many fixer uppers can you do, and how many people can do it at once? It gets really complex, bro. Because there's a lot of time branching out, bro.
It is. It is.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
interestingly enough, it does kind of get into this, and I'll side tangent before going on. Project Looking
Holy
Glass talks
fuck.
about these P-52s, right? So Project
Mhm.
Looking Glass pretty much is this device where if you put a psychic into it, they can look back in the past, right? But if they're really gifted, they can look into the future. And
Yeah.
obviously the CIA wanted to do experiments on it so that they can see what military decisions and what outcomes they yield after doing them, right?
Uh-huh.
So the problem is whatever subject was in the Project Looking Glass, it was kind of
Uh-huh.
biased. So if you put a Christian in there and you look backwards, the Christian's going to see crucifixion, and all like a bunch of Christian history. If you put an atheist in there, they're not really going to see that. If you put a Muslims there, they're going to see their Muslim history. So it's kind of biased to their religion. But there was one common thing they couldn't see past 2012, and that tripped everybody out. So what happened is they went to Majestic 12 and they pulled out the P-52 aircraft. And I guess the P-52 aircraft also had a pilot, P-52 pilot. And they named it P-52 because it was a person from 52,000 years ago. The alien was a human, right?
Yeah.
So when the alien got into the Project Looking Glass, he explained that they turned off the machines in 2012 because if they kept it on, some cataclysmic event would happen. December 21st, 2012, they said that the magnetic disruption of the sun would cause the poles to shift or some shit.
Yeah.
So they turned it off to prevent that from happening. But he said that there's P-42s, which is 42,000 years later from the current human. They wanted that to happen because if that happens, then we go underground. And he says the grays and the insectoid humans are us in those conditions that evolved to living underground because now we have big eyes to be able to see at night and in the dark. Our
The
heads
evolution.
bigger because we're more in touch with technology. And they
Holy
say
fuck.
it's not we're the drones, you know. They
Hmm.
say it's the
Hmm.
fact that we lost our humanity, and so we're just kind of curious scientists now instead of being like,
And the
empathetic
idea,
towards each other.
even the idea of empathy and reproduction organs are not even needed anymore. This is why they can't reproduce in many
Hmm.
areas. This is some of the stories of these grays and reptilians. They can't reproduce, which is why they come and fuck our alien women, because
So
I mean
now to
our
just
human
kind of
women.
bring context into that. So the P-52, the reason why we had them retrieved is because they went over here to splice their DNA with us to prevent them from getting an illness in whatever timeline they're at. This sounds really crazy right now, but this is the theory. I'm just kind of quoting the theory. But the P-42s, they wanted 2012 to happen, and since it got averted, they're shifting for 2030. And it's kind of interesting about, Agenda 2030. And they said that's a
Yeah.
crossroads because it's either we're going to use our knowledge and our newfound discovery of technology in order to unite the world, or we're going to use it for selfish gain and be less human and start wars and be hateful for each other. So Agenda 2030, something big is going to happen 2030. I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but the interesting thing to me is that they're humans from the future coming here. So again, the alien thing being humans and us kind of really being close to them, and the DNA splicing, which was the Epstein alien type thing.
Yeah.
So to get back on track,
Yeah.
Epstein cloned himself, apparently. He was really into transhumanism. Brian discussed how Epstein's victim, Julian Bryan, claimed that her eggs and other genetic material were forcibly harvested while she was at Epstein's New Mexico home, dubbed Zorro Ranch. She claimed she was drugged and then woke up in a lab surrounded by doctors. Even the mainstream media has reported that Epstein wanted to turn Zorro Ranch into a baby breeding farm to seed the human race with his DNA. Why should we think he did not accomplish this? Interesting. So, bro,
Yeah.
this is the craziest thing. This is an article from Business Insider. Jeffrey
Yeah.
Epstein reportedly wanted to seed the human race with his DNA as part of his fascination with transhumanism.
Yeah.
So it says that by impregnating 20 women at a time in his ranch in Santa Fe, New Mexico, he wanted to seed the human race. And this was in the early 2000s. So, again, Raelism.
I only know one person in history, at least in history, that has accomplished this on a massive scale, and he did it seamlessly.
Mhm.
The Mongolian king, what's his fucking name? I'm losing his name right now.
Genghis Khan?
Genghis Khan.
Damn.
So I think if you don't, if correct me if I'm wrong, but I think 3 out of 5 people in the world are connected to him. 3 out of 5, two out of 5. I think it's 3 out of 5 people around the world. Every single person is a cousin to a cousin that are related to him. Look it
So,
up. I
I
swear to God, let me
mean,
get this.
this is kind of a spoiler because I'm going to make this biblical, but isn't that creating a world in your image?
Well, well, yes and no, because that could be too
The
genetically,
DNA,
yeah.
genetically, yeah.
Genetically, yes, absolutely. I can't take it away. But legacy wise, if you profess something with your mouth, you're vibrationally putting it out with your mouth. This is why they write statues, right? It's the same thing. You build a statue for a king that was a great king, Alexander the Great. You mentioned him. You mentioned him as the great, right? Hitler was a bad person. Donald Trump, the closest to Jesus Christ, and Paranoi Radio, see, stuff like that. So it's like when you have a legacy, you're always remembered and echoed through the ages of through the times of ages, right? Through the ages, and you are building a world in your image and what your legacy looks like. But this guy took it to the next level and physically made it like us, kind of like how Genesis is. God created in our image, not even his image. He was talking to somebody else in Genesis, which is a trip.
Bro, like they took it literally, you know what I mean? And that's the thing about these group of people, like they look at the Bible and they take it literally to the point where they map out the coordinates and they go fucking find the Noah's Ark. They find the Spear of Destiny. They find the Holy Grail, which also ties into this. So let me just keep going on. Epstein's fascination with transhumanism. According to the Times, Jaron Lanier, a pioneer of virtual reality, remembers talking to a NASA scientist who said Epstein's New Mexico baby ranch idea was inspired by the repository for germinal choice, a sperm bank in Escondido, California. The sperm bank operated from 1979 to 1999 and was incorrectly rumored to contain only the sperm of Nobel laureates. So just the elites, right? So interestingly about cloning, you don't need any males with cloning, right? So let me just the forefront company of cloning is Clonaid. Now let me just kind of bring in Clonaid before we get to discuss because this is going to be crazy.
Then males carry the X and the Y chromosomes. You can make any gender, sex, or you can make any sex, female or male, with male sperm.
It's gonna get crazy, bro. It's gonna get crazy. So, Clonade is an American-based human cloning organization registered as a company in the Bahamas, founded in 1997. Interestingly enough, Bill Clinton actually, right? He banned federal funding for human cloning, but that didn't ban private funding, right? So
Word.
it had a philosophical ties with the UFO religion, Raelism, which sees cloning as a first step to achieve immortality. On December 27, 2002, Clonade's chief executive Bridget Boiselier claimed that a baby clone named Eve was born. Why they picked that name? Again, it's crazy. Media coverage of the claim sparked serious criticism of the ethical debate that lasted more than a year. Florida attorney Bernard Siegel tried to appoint a special guardian for Eve and threatened to sue Clonade because she was afraid that the child might be treated like a lab rat. So, Raelians, Raelism, obviously that religion, that group, they were able to find private funding in order to fund Clonade, right?
Uh,
Clonade, they claimed to have cloned baby Eve, but they didn't have any proof of it, right? They just
yeah.
kind of said it because I think there was a clone race and they kind of wanted to be the first brand to say, hey, we cloned it. But
Uh-huh.
they did clone a sheep, right?
Yeah, I remember that.
The
Hmm.
sheep's
Hmm.
name is Dolly.
Yep.
Why in the Bible are they all shepherds?
The Lamb of God.
Lamb of God. What's the difference between a lamb and a
Wow.
sheep?
Blow it up, bro. I
A
don't
lamb's just a
know.
baby sheep. And then a
He's
ram is just a male
a male
sheep, I believe,
sheep.
right? So
Uh-huh.
all those animals are connected. A ram can also be symbolized as the devil because of the horns, right?
Hmm. Yeah. Hmm.
Lamb of God. So again, to clonade it claims that this is how they clone. They take the embryo, they take the DNA out of the embryo, they take, I don't know, let's say skin cell, your skin cells, right? They take DNA from
Hmm.
your skin cells, put that in the
Hmm.
embryo, then they put the embryo into a womb, and then they create a clone you. They don't need sperm, they don't need anything. If you want a movie that refers to this, it's Jurassic Park. No male
Word.
dinosaurs. Interestingly enough, if you follow it, you might be disappointed because it's not about dinosaurs anymore. Later on, you find that the dinosaurs were because that they were trying to clone the daughter or the granddaughter, right?
Yeah. Uh-huh. Word.
Pretty
That
fucking
happened in
interesting.
Jurassic World.
Yeah,
What the
so
fuck, dog?
yo, the Lamb of God,
Blasphemous.
Virgin Mary,
Mm.
right? You
Yes.
don't need a
Yeah.
man anymore.
Yeah.
So interestingly enough, it seems like Antichrist shit. You know what I mean? You're trying to
First of all, speeding up the process to our understanding of the second coming. Second, perverting us to the max, accepting these things that are happening as regular with fucking movies, music, etc., entertainment, and regular old science. Trust the science. What science? The science, same science that is putting blasphemous acts against God, and also flipping the script in church and religion, almost religious warfare. What up is down, and what is down is up. Same thing. It's
why I
crazy.
bring up Jurassic Park is because most of the dinosaurs, first of all, they weren't they didn't have enough DNA. So they had to splice them with, frog
Freaking
DNA,
frogs.
lizard
Yep.
DNAs in order to make them scarier for the theme park, right?
Mhm.
But you
Uh-huh.
need a little bit of their DNA. Now we get into this theory. Now I laid out the presentation and the information. Now let's kind of just spitball. Interestingly enough, bro, why is it that you just need a little bit of DNA? And first of all, 23andMe, right? What if they're
Uh-huh.
harvesting our DNA? And what if there are already clones of us underground? Another movie we can talk about besides the island is Us. I know I've mentioned that already,
Uh-huh.
where we're
Uh-huh.
kind of tethered to them underground, but we don't know because we don't know if they're cloning us on purpose or it's just for testing to perfect the product, right? Because I think there were 10 to 20 failed cloned sheeps before they came up with Dolly. And before Eve, there were obviously failures in order to come up with the perfect, you know what I mean, product. So what happened to those? What went wrong with those? Did they grow two heads? Did they get too powerful? I don't know. Interesting.
This
Did
reminds
they
me of the
get too
movie
smart?
Splice. Have you ever seen the movie Splice?
I
With the
haven't.
girl, they make you have it? Oh,
I
fuck
know. I
me,
heard it's
dude.
disturbing. I heard it's disturbing.
It's really weird, bro, because the dude and the girl, I think it's in Germany, somewhere in Europe, they create this, they put I guess the hardest, the most intricate, the most powerful assets of predators into one ball, and they make this superhuman that has
Mm.
an evolved tail. It has wings under her. She could expand wings right here, like, and she has gills. She has night vision, everything. Like, she can see. I think she could even like change her skin when it's dark, and she could also change her sex from female to male. So they make her,
Oh
and she
shit.
grows up, and she has like a kangaroo legs and everything. You got to look it up. It's fucking, but she's a human, and she finds the doctor attractive. Ends up having sex with the doctor. The doctor bone. Oh, dude, that's the disturbing part. And then his
Yeah.
wife walks in on her and catches him. But it's a trippy ass movie because of how far science has allowed imagination to go. I mean, and no, imagination has allowed science to go. It's a trip movie, but that also kind of like solidifies what they've been trying to do underground.
And I mean, not to
That's
be
fucking wild.
funny or anything, but
Uh,
scientifically, to have sex with your creation is a scientific act to see what happens. Do we progress? Like, do we make a chimera? What happens? You know what I mean? And it's one of those things. Again, I don't want to side tangent, but sexual energy is a very big play with these sexual cults. They have young women around them, they have attractive women around them with the guise of, I need to control my temptation. So I have you attractive people around me to help me get tempted so I can control that temptation. But what's the failure of that? You give into your temptation and you go, you know what I mean? Molest them.
yeah, 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 a
But then
hundred
it
percent.
becomes that thing of like, oh, I messed up, I'm trying. I'll be better
No,
tomorrow. And then
no,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, that's what it's the guise of. So
yeah, and and you know what's funny, because when the again going to that movie Splice,
mhm.
she becomes a man. He gets all bulked up. He changes his body, and then he rapes the female doctor,
Damn.
busts inside her, and towards the end of the movie, she has a baby little splice alien in her fucking gut. Wild. Yeah, man. Yeah.
That might
All
be
connects.
foreshadowing. I
For
mean,
some
you know what I mean?
foreshadowing shit, bro.
Well,
Yo,
actually,
that is wild.
this is the crazy thing. My thing
Mhm.
is, this is privately funded. There's no regulations really to clone it. If you look up their history, I think they were working out of a high school lab at one point because obviously they were under a lot of scrutiny because
Uh,
no one was cloning people around 97 to 2002, right? They're trying to be low key about it. But if you're out there trying to clone people, trying to clone sheep, what makes you think they didn't try to splice a sheep and a human and make a combo chimera sheep human, right? Or a
they
ram
didn't,
or a ram human.
or a superhuman,
Well,
like a super soldier.
first of all, they easily could have done that, but let's work with what they've already presented, a sheep and a human, right?
Uh huh.
What symbols do you know that's half sheep or half ram and half human? A lot. Pan, right? The god Pan. Baphomet is a half human, half ram, or half goat or whatever. And goat is
Yeah.
obviously a sect of a ram, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Uh huh.
There's a lot of half goat, half lamb, half human depictions in history. Who knows if that's ancient tech that these people are finding through texts and art and trying to do because obviously they've done it. And we talked about the
Yo,
symbolism of Lamb
you
of
know what? You
God,
just connected to a biblical standpoint, because in before the days through the days of Noah, we had abominations here. We've had gene splicing. We had these Nephilim, and not just the Nephilim, but the Nephilim were also creating other creatures as they were mixing bloods. They were mixing human bloods with freaking oxes, and this was like, for example, Baal and
Mhm.
other gods and stuff.
Mm.
And this is why God wiped the earth clean with water, because he said, I need to destroy every single bloodline that these Nephilim are creating on earth, because they're not my creation. I am not their father. Their father is somebody else. And it kind of connects to what this is why the Bible says the days will return to be like the days of Noah. And that is
Yeah.
100% accurate, bro. Now that you're bringing these points in, even Russia, when they went into Ukraine, they just recently said that there was laboratories with superhumans there. Look it up. Yeah, there's no real
What does that
resource.
mean? You know,
Yeah.
you could
Yeah.
either say Captain America superhuman, or you could be like the Hulk superhuman. You know what I mean? There's a whole
Mm-hmm.
Marvel like reference sheet to claim a superhuman now. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Beast.
And
Beast
but
is
going
a
back to
superhuman.
Jurassic Park, Jurassic World, the raptors were being almost breeded and then gene spliced to also be super soldier animals to go into war and clean out a fucking playing field, right? Crazy
Indominus
shit.
Rex and the Indominus Raptor, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
interestingly enough, the Clintons got pulled into this. Interestingly enough, obviously, the Clintons are after again, we brought this up all the time, the Gilgamesh tomb, right? Now, we brought up the Holy Grail and we brought up the Spear of Destiny. Why do you think they want that? Because there's Jesus' blood in it. There should be saliva from Jesus in that. That's DNA. They talk
Oh,
about the resurrection chambers of Gilgamesh. What does that
mhm.
mean? Now, when we talk about cloning and we talk about you just need a little bit of DNA, I think that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to bring it because everything relates and goes back to a bloodline. You know what I mean? And if you
Can I
talk
be honest
about
with you?
the Priory of Sion, that's supposed to be like a secret society trying to protect Jesus' bloodline. But yeah, what were you gonna say?
You mentioned something about right now about the Holy Grail. Yo, Jesus was a Jew, right?
Bro, what was the religious group that was behind cloning? Israel.
Check this out. Don't quote me here, people. This is not trying to be funny. Just give it some fucking thought. Jesus was a Jew. Jews are known to snip the top tip of your dick. Somebody has Jesus's foreskin out there, bro. And
Mm,
you all you need is a little bit of this is not trying to be funny. This is serious. And they keep a record of every Jew. They're one of the most well-documented fucking religions and race of peoples and groups of peoples that they do stuff like that to each other. And I'm talking about Jesus's penis is out there somewhere right now. Not trying to be a dick or anything. God forgive me. This is just something to point out there.
yeah,
They
and
fucking
people like
clone that.
and people like Hitler, if you heard that, or people like Hillary Clinton or anybody in government, and some would say that that's the real reason we're going to war is to raid these ancient sites, you know?
Word,
So
100%.
if I heard that, I'm fucking taking that shit seriously. I'm looking up coordinates, you know what I mean? I'm looking up
Yeah.
references.
Mm-hmm.
That's why they also wanted the little shroud that Jesus was at, because apparently there's blood on that thing too, right?
Mm-hmm.
DNA.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about DNA. So if they can clone a Jesus, that's the second coming. But
That's
is
the
it the
second
second
coming.
coming or is it the
No,
Antichrist?
the
That's where
Antichrist.
exactly
Yeah.
where it gets
Yeah.
crazy
Yeah.
now. You know, that's where this shit gets
What?
biblical, bro.
Oh, fuck sauce,
Yeah.
dude.
Because it's similar,
Woo.
because it's a virgin birth, you know what I mean?
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm. But it's
crazy.
not Jesus. It's off Jesus, but it's not Jesus. No mother, right? Clone, no
Hmm.
father, right? Damn, bro. And the Bible does say that this antichrist human person is going to be able to have persuasion, have power over people, have do miracles and shit, kind of like Jesus. But he
Hmm.
is not Jesus. He's here to deceive people until the real second coming comes. Wow.
So that's the thing
Damn.
about Raelians. Like they believe that cloning is the answer because it comes with all the power. So if you want immortality, you can clone, you know what I mean, a person and just implant your memories on them, and then you are immortal. If you need a companion, you just clone a companion,
And then
you
this
know?
is why Elon Musk and all these corporations are hard working on trying to transcend or put your essence into something else, like an avatar,
Yeah,
putting your
man.
memory somewhere else. That is fact.
So the
Holy.
interesting about Raelianism is the guy Rael, he actually is looking for a bunch of advocates to make it look good. You know what I mean? Because obviously it sounds crazy, and it's interesting, bro. He's 40. He was 47 years old when he married his wife. His wife is some kind of dancer. His wife is
uh,
16 years old.
yeah.
So he also
His wife is
claimed
what?
16 years old. Yeah.
In New Mexico?
I don't know where she's from, but you know, that's still kind of too young
What?
wherever you're from, unless you're
No,
in
but I mean, no,
Canada. You
because
know what I
like,
mean?
like,
Unless
like,
you're in
what's the name?
Canada.
R. Kelly married a fucking 16-year-old at 30 something years old and completely legal. I think it was in Virginia for some odd reason. They let him, they allowed him to get married. So I'm saying, like, what states allowing that to happen? Where the coordinates, like you said, matching
Mhm.
the coordinates. Yeah, yeah.
Also, he also called Bill Gates a better person than Mother Teresa. I don't know about Mother Teresa. I heard she was a piece of shit, but Bill Gates is a bigger piece of shit. Bill Gates has close ties to Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah.
Also,
Yeah.
Rael also gave a bunch of props to Hugh Hefner because he likes how Hugh Hefner is kind of framing sexuality. Because Raelians believe that you should have multiple sex partners because they think having sex with other people is the best way to network. What does that sound like? These sex parties and these sex orgies that all these celebrities are doing, right?
Yeah, yeah, and this is why the same again trying to tie it with the biblical standpoint. This is why these angels were extremely jealous of the human race, and they decided to sin and come on to the daughters of man
Hmm.
because we were fucking wildly. And there was no marriage. There was no, there was sex before marriage. There was kids being lost. It's the same amount of thing. Oh, obviously to a smaller scale, but the same amount of perversion. And when you connect all these things that are happening with Elon Musk and the sex parties and sex magic and the people that are in charge of fashion, the people that are in charge of the entertainment industry, music, movies, everything ties to them letting us know what's really happening behind closed doors for like karmic retribution, and then they won't go to hell according to their religion or to whatever they believe in, right?
Hmm. Not just
So
that, they think that they're doing the right thing. So they think that they're spreading breadcrumbs in order for you to be curious. Because one of the guys that Raelians go under to try to recruit is they go to colleges and they teach guided meditations. And inside it, like subtly in those guided meditations, they'll put a little Raelianism beliefs in there. And obviously they'll give business cards. And once you're in the group, you're in the gang. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So
And then
they
just the
they
symbol
they're
alone, bro,
praying out
this
there. Yeah. They
the
think
symbol
what they're
alone.
doing, they think they're saving you. That's the crazy part. You know what I mean?
They're also brainwashed, bro. You have to. I
Hmm.
mean, look, unless you're high up and you know what's going on, but they're eating that steak, bro. They're drinking the Kool Aid like they say out here.
Yeah.
Oh man.
What's crazy? So we talked about, you know, aliens probably being humans from another timeline and shit, and how we tied in Raelian beliefs and cloning to um Epstein's his
Operation.
operation and his obsession with cloning and transhumanism and his
Yeah.
ties with Bill Gates and how Rael called Bill Gates better than Mother Teresa. Bill Gates is known for depopulation and wanting to get rid of people. So
Hmm.
it's crazy that these people, these elites, they hate us, man. They want to look out for them. They want to look out what's best, or they want to live forever. And who knows, they maybe even want to replace society with a version of us integrated with them. You know what I
The
mean?
the faster they get you to fuck, the faster they get you to reproduce, the faster they get you to be perverted, the faster they get you to die. You complete that cycle of power for them, and you only get closer to one thing, which is going to be hell, and puts them in a position of glory on earth. And that emphasizing and amplifies their power. You're 110%, but it has to come full circle, and they do it through ages. So again, a lot of people are now, if you go back to 200 years ago, people were living up to 80 to 90 years old without any medicine. Now you have to be a billionaire to be able to reach that height of power and have that access to all the pharmaceutical companies that will, lend you a hand, or some adrenochrome, right? So some crazy shit. So yeah, man, killing us fast, having us to reproduce fast. That's the more souls that are going to hell, the more people you get to pervert. It's all connecting, bro.
Look up Raelians, Raelian, or Raelism. Those guys are crazy. They have the money to clone people, and they have families obviously wanting to clone. Because when I was going down this rabbit hole, bro, I was thinking, what would be a reason where cloning would be the ideal answer to this solution? Why would you, if you could clone, why would you ever want to clone personally?
Endless supply of slaves.
Okay, so that's ego based, you could say.
Mm-hmm,
To
mm-hmm.
multiply myself, that's another ego thing, right?
Yeah.
To be immortal is also an egotistical
Mm-hmm.
frame to decide from, I think. So another one is apparently the first family that funded the experiment wanted to bring back their dead daughter or their dead son
Jurassic World.
on some Jurassic World shit. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
So resurrecting a powerful figure, or resurrecting a family member would be one too. And I
Uh-huh.
kind of get that, but that's more of a conversation we have to talk about. Like, hey, man, you need to let go type shit. You know what I
Mhm,
mean?
mhm, mhm. On some Lazarus effect type of thing, right? Kind of like
But
that
that
movie
seems
Lazarus
to
effect.
be the
Yeah.
reason that causes the good in order to go to bad on some Anakin shit. You know what I mean? He turned to
Yeah.
Darth Vader because he wanted to prolong his love.
And then he ends up murdering her. Fucking idiot.
Crazy shit, man.
Breaking her heart enough. Yo, bro. Yo, look, check
Shit.
this out. I could hear. Hit it. Hit it.
Just bring the context, bro. Epstein's an alien. That's what I meant. So this is
Yo,
a
but you know
conclusion from
what?
Epstein.
The whole connection with the aliens, with realism and realism, whatever the fuck they're called. Don't get it confused. It's not realism and all the shit that, like, dude, you brought in a bomb in a massive episodes of Paranoi Radio, bro. Before we even walk out of here, I want you to tell the people where they can find you.
You can find me at the cave on all social media platforms at THEK4V3. I'm the one in the mask.
Yeah. Joreeezy, I want to thank you again for taking the time and for presenting this entire package on Paranoi Radio Podcast. This drops in a couple of weeks. Again, everybody, make sure you check them out at K4V3.com, K4V3.com, and make sure you also drop a 5-star review on his show. It allows other people to enjoy the show as much as we enjoy making it. Thank you so much, bro, for this amazing episode, dude. You are a fucking beast. But may everything you touch become gold, and may God bless your family. May God bless everything that you speak on, and everything, your work, your job, your health, and God bless you in general, bro. Thank you again for everything.
Hell yeah, likewise, brother.
Yeah.